Book of
Okay.
Enoch, son. What do you know about that?
So I did a lot of research over the weekend, like deep dive kind of stuff. And there's some craziness in here, man. Uh to just like to top it off, like portals in and of itself, right? Like
Yeah, man.
you say that word and you're like, okay, that's magic,
Right.
right?
So,
Or really advanced science, which is kind of doesn't really matter, does it?
no. So it's funny because the Book of Enoch is a lot of people who studied. It's in this book I was over here reading. A lot of people have studied it. They will tell you that that's how magic actually came into our world, right? And so even like so let's give everybody what the Book of Enoch is a little bit when we get into it, guys. The Book of Enoch is the second book in the Bible, the Old Testament. It was removed by the Catholic Church sometime in the past. We'll get into that later. It is still in existence in the Ethiopian Bible. They use the Bible without it being removed at all. They use it as it is meant to be. The Book of Enoch comes right after the Book of Genesis. The Book of Enoch is named thus because it is written by a man whose name was Enoch. And Enoch is a very, very important man in history and theology. He is actually a direct descendant of Adam, 7 generations away from Adam. He is the father of Methuselah, who was the grandfather of Noah. And all those names are checking all the bells right there. Now, the Book of Enoch will tell you a story. You can go and get it easily anywhere. Used to be hard to find. Now it's in several publications. I recommend this book right here, and I'm not getting pumped by them. It's the complete 54-book apocryphy. I recommend this book. It's huge, but the Book of Enoch is in this book as well. And so basically, we're going to get into what the Book of Enoch talks about. We're going to give it a high-level overview, and then we'll dig into some of the details on it, right? The Book of Enoch tells a story that after God made the earth and left us here, he appointed watchers to be our guardians in heaven. And these watchers, looking down upon our fine earthlings, earth chicks, right, said, you know what, boys, we're going to have to go down there and hang out with them chicks, which was a direct affront to their, I would say, standing orders from God. They weren't to mingle like that as well. These watchers came down, took on human form, bred with earth women, created giants. The giants became cannibals, wore us out. The watchers taught women sorcery and all this other stuff. And like I said, we're just doing the broad strokes. We'll dig into the details here.
Yeah.
And then God had to flood the earth to get rid of them. And did some other things to them as well. That's the high level stuff. Now let's dig into it, right? So, who's Enoch, Jay? Well, like we said, he is a direct descendant from the Adam.
Right.
Seven away, right?
Yeah, something like that. He was the son. I don't have that one up.
Tell you, you can look it up, man. Like he's
not far descended, right?
Yeah, he was seventh down from Adam, right? He's seventh down from Adam, right?
He was the father of Methuselah.
Bet you.
Who's famous for being the longest lived, right?
So here you go. We'll give a little treat here. What does Methuselah mean, Jay? What's the name mean?
Well, I don't know what it means, but I know what it means. It means colloquial. So yeah.
It means when he dies, it begins. So the flood came. That's what Methuselah means, right? And Methuselah was the grandfather of Noah. He was the father of a guy, I think his name was Lamech, which was the father of Noah. And then when Methuselah died, that's when the flood started, right? And so, pull up real quick on your end, Jay. How old was Methuselah?
He was
990 some years old, I think.
969 years old.
969 years old. And so there is a prophecy in the Bible where God said after the fall of Adam, before Adam we were immortal, but after the fall of Adam we weren't immortal. And so God said that no man on this earth will live longer than one day in heaven. And so that lets a lot of people think that since Methuselah was 960 some years old, that a day in heaven is 1,000
like
years on
1,000
earth.
years or something like that. Yeah. So that here's where words are really important, right?
Very
like
important.
little tiny variations in translation can get you every time, right? So if we're looking at the family tree, so there was Cain and Abel, and then Adam and Eve had other children.
Yes.
Seth, Enos, the lesser known children, right?
Right.
One of those lesser known children was Jared, and that was the father of Enoch, right? So that would be make Adam his grandfather, essentially.
So there you go.
So he's third generation human, right? Interesting, right?
You want to hear a second fun fact?
What's that?
It's very tinfoily.
I'm down.
Bro, that's where I get down them tinfoilies, right? Have you heard of this 2030 project?
The 2030 project, I have not.
So basically, it's a big deal coming from our so-called, they like to call themselves elites, but they're not, man. I call them the dregs, man. So the 2030 project is where they're supposed to, it just launched in Britain or England or whatnot. And it's supposed to, some people say it's their countdown, the countdown to the mass depopulation. But other people are saying that because the prophecy in the Revelation says that Jesus will return and rule for 1,000 years on earth, right? And Jesus died supposedly when he was 30 or 33 years old, and that 1,000 years on earth is one day in heaven. They say that that's the day that Jesus is supposed to return, 2030, and that's the day that they're expecting to go to war with heaven, right? Like I said, big tinfoil. So back to what we're talking to on that is that, so that's who Enoch was, and in Enoch's story talks about the Watchers, and so the Watchers were left behind. They came down. They disobeyed the rules, basically sinned. They came down and came to Earth, and they took on Earth women. But here is something, man. Before we go any further on that, here's something that is actually adds that little grain, the weird factor, right? That makes you say that this is true, makes you think that it's true, is that they were the mountain that they landed on. In several sources, they say it was Mount Hermon, which is in Israel.
Right, Mount Hermon, yeah.
Mount Hermon, which is in Israel. And then the Book of Enoch talks that Samjiza, right, which was their chief, he's like, I'm not going to take this heat on my own. We're all going to make a pact, right? And so they landed on Mount Hermon, and they all put their sign, their symbol, on this stone there, right? Do you know that you're only allowed to go to the altitude of 2,020 meters or 2,020 feet onto Mount Hermon? Can't go to the top. And do you know why you can't go to the top?
No, I have no idea.
Because at 2,814 feet, there is a permanent UN command post on Mount Hermon, manned, and this is another part that I thought was crazy. Mind you, we're in Israel, manned by an Austrian battalion of soldiers.
Oh, God.
And I'm just like, what? Right? So
they're looking for the Ark of the Covenant.
I don't know. I don't even know.
There's a bunch of angelic sigils up there, right?
No, so here's the crazy thing, man. This is another thing, bro. They found that stone with all those markings on there. A famous British museum, basically equivalent to our Smithsonian, took it back to England, and you can't see it. They put it away in the basement, right? And I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, wow, all right. So I have my own theories on why they would do that too, right?
Indiana Jones kind of shit.
Right up my alley, dog. I am the bastard son of Indiana Jones, bro.
I'm down. Right? Like, I love finding that stuff. I like finding the truth, so, Yeah,
and so I thought to myself, man, that is so odd, right? So I take a step further too, man. Like I think I'm not Catholic, but I think the Catholic Church has good qualities to it, right?
Hmm.
But I think that the Catholic Church has also is an organization that will do anything to protect the Catholic Church. And I think over the past,
Well, I think that's been demonstrated
yeah,
time and time again.
for sure, right? Like mafioso style level cleanup, right? That
Yeah,
needs to get
yeah,
done, right?
yeah,
That they will do it, right?
absolutely.
So
They've
anything
done
that
it.
go,
Like
yeah,
there's, I mean, it's all the secrets are coming out now.
oh yeah, believe man, right? You can't stop it, right? 2024 is it's going to be the great awakening. I actually think this we're going to see some of this stuff pop off in 2024. So anything that would protect, anything that would threaten any
Hmm.
type of hierarchy of power, any type of knowledge, any
Oh
type of
yeah,
doctrine, right? They'll tell you they took the Book of Enoch out because not because they thought it was too wasn't correct. They said it was too much knowledge. They took it out because it says it tells you too much. You can go look this up. That's the Catholic Church reason for moving it out. It says it tells too much, right? And
right.
so it leads me into a theory that I postulated several podcasts ago. Is that if they can't kill it, right? Like you can't kill an idea, right? If they
Right.
can't kill the idea, all you're left with is the discredit it and hide it, right? All you can do is say, you know what? Just like anybody sees a UFO, oh, you're a crazy, you're an idiot. That was a weather balloon. Bitch, that
Yeah.
wasn't no weather
Right.
balloon, right? All you can do is discredit it and hide it and put it down. And the reason
Yeah.
why I think they hide this so hard, bro, is because if one thing in the Book of Enoch was ever proven to be true, right?
Right.
Bro.
Yeah. If they accepted any of it, they'd
Yeah,
have to accept all of it.
all of it.
And
Bro.
the ride gets wilder
Yeah.
as you go on.
Boom.
Right. Like,
Bro, yeah, bro. This is a Lord of the Rings trilogy movie that would make billions if you just made a movie on what went
yeah.
down in the
Right.
Book of Enoch, right? Crazy.
Absolutely, man.
I love it.
Yeah. It would make an amazing sci-fi
Oh my
movie,
god,
like,
man.
or an amazing
Yeah,
just like tweak it a little bit, right?
yeah,
Um, see, and that's the thing, right? And that's what gets me about this. I have always I've always been curious about it. Never like I was curious about it when I heard about it when I was young, right?
hmm
But I never could get a hold of it because this was pre-internet, man.
yeah,
Like
bro.
getting a
No,
hold
yeah,
of
you
something
couldn't get
like
this
that
back
when
in the
you
day.
were
Yeah,
no,
mhm,
absolutely not. And so that's why it's so interesting. All of the knowledge is starting to just be
yeah,
freely like available, right? And that's a big, huge step forward.
bro.
Um, I think people who would have read this back in, I don't know, pick a time, 1100 AD,
Oh,
right
man.
during the Black Plague,
Yeah,
it would have blown their minds,
yeah.
right? And those people back then weren't literate.
No,
The Catholic Church, when they read, the scripture traditionally for a really long time,
yeah,
it was the Latin Mass. They read it in Latin and they read it to people,
yeah,
right? What you got is what the priest gave you.
yeah. And I actually think
And
that was
so
a
they had a
yeah,
lot of control over information.
yeah. I actually think that was a big part of the Protestant revolution or Reformation is that
It was, yeah,
it should be made available to everybody. And again, like I said,
right.
not to attack anybody's faith, or you can pray to a
Mm-mm.
tomato for all I care, right? But like
Right.
at the
Yeah.
end of the day, right? These are I forget the monk's name, but he nailed like 99 reasons to the door. He was like, this is wrong,
Yeah.
right?
Martin Luther.
Yeah, and so it's
Yeah.
and like one of the things there is like you're not giving the information. And I'm studying this, it's a lot. Like it's a lot, man, to take in one sitting, right? It is a lot, right?
Oh,
And
yeah.
so when I'm,
It's a lot.
yeah,
It's a
man, it
lot
is a
to
lot,
take it
bro.
in multiple things.
Yeah, and so when
There's
I'm,
a lot there to unpack.
bro, and when I sit there and I read it,
A
man,
lot.
I say I try to take it like with an open mind, right? But I'm such a believer. I'm a sucker, man, when it comes to believing stuff sometimes, right? And then when I
Yeah.
sit there and I read it, right, and I thought to myself, it's like put myself in the church's position, right? Like they
Well, yeah.
benefit,
Put yourself in.
yeah, they benefit from keeping us stupid. And they really do, man.
Absolutely.
And I'll tell you,
Yeah.
I'll tell you my reasons why, man. Stupid people are easy to scare. They really are, man. Stupid people are very, very easy to scare, man. And people who, the more you're around something, you either develop a understanding of it that comes with respect, or you know to completely not mess with it at all. For example, a rattlesnake, right? I'm not a snake guy, right? But I know enough that if I hear that, I'm looking around, and if he's in a ball, he's dying. If he's moving off, I'm gonna let him live, and I'm gonna back up like 4 or 5 steps, right? Because that's a respect thing there.
Right.
Snakes are quick.
Well, yeah,
you, right? So
and traditionally they'll back off because they're warning you.
Yeah. The same thing, man, like with knowledge that, you can scare people, but the more they're like, you know what, man, is there really something in that closet? Is there really something under my bed? And you look under there's nothing under your bed, right? And then you realize, what's making that noise? It's the furnace. You know what I'm saying? Like, you educate yourself on what not to be scared of, right?
Right.
When I was reading the Book of Enoch, and Enoch goes into great detail about a lot of things, I said, man, this will tell you what to fear and what not to fear, right? And one of the chapters in Enoch is when I forget the angel's name. The angel takes him to hell, right? And Enoch is terrified. And he's
Ariel.
like, Ariel, right? And he says, why are you scared? This isn't for you. I'm just showing you this. This is for the stars who stars are
angels that fall.
Who yeah, exactly, right. So God didn't create hell for us. You put yourself in hell, right? He didn't create that for us, but he created it for them, right? And then so to be a little bit more whatever, and go into it, man.
They even explained what happens to someone who doesn't believe.
Yeah.
Right? They go into detail. They're like, if you're not a believer, you'll just cease to exist.
You just poof, right?
That's it. You're just over. You won't be resurrected on the day of judgment. And so, here's what's so interesting to me about this. And I always approach it from I try to put myself in the shoes of someone that far in the past.
Yeah.
Right. You look at it. This is a dude who is essentially in a tribal society.
Yeah.
Right. Now, if you trace his history, his people have had contact with these beings for 100 years at this point.
Enoch,
right? At least, because
to add to your thing, Enoch actually sat with them. He sat down with these beings. He sat with them.
I mean, these things are these are people and then one of the big things, if you want to be as approaching it from a scholarship point of view as a Bible scholar, right, and someone who's in the seminary, and you read this account. Something would occur to you, we were taught. I mean, I came from a very strong Protestant background, right? We were taught that God sees everything, right? Well, then why does he need watchers on earth?
You're right. It opens up too many questions.
So then you make it opens up so many questions, right? If even, like you said in the beginning, if even one of these little nuggets is true, even has a little kernel of truth to it, it's interesting. It's fascinating.
Yes.
Right. It opens up things that nobody in the church would want to talk about.
For sure. That's hard questions to answer.
They don't have answers. Right. They don't have answers.
And here's something to add to it is when you add into it as well. Enoch was alive in the heat of it. When the giants were on the earth, it wasn't the only thing that these watchers did. The watchers also experimented with animals. They made hybrids. So a lot of the stuff you hear, right, like centaurs and whatever, they made them. They created them, right? Talks about sinning against animals. They did all this stuff as well. And he was right in the middle of it, man, that it was going on. And then I've also heard a very interesting theory that splits, right? That the Catholic Church, not just only them, man, but they have known for a long long time that we're not alone, right? And that
Mm-hmm.
Enoch misinterpreted aliens for God, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so, and that someone pretending to be a god came down and did all this stuff or whatever, and coming around, and that even opens up more questions, right? Like so, and so so that's another thing, right? Well, they just pulled it out, right? That, and because it says here, one of the things that Enoch is known for, right, is that he never died. It just said God was happy
No.
with him and God took him, right? So he just left, right? And so I mean,
It says in Genesis. It
yeah,
says in Genesis, Enoch lived 365 years
right,
before he was taken by God.
yeah, God took him
Yeah,
and just took him, right?
took him.
And like, and he also talks too about how like these angels were the good angels, or if it was good, whatever, the people that Enoch was interacting with, saying that they were angels and they were with God, Ariel and whatever, they taught him things. They taught him a lot of things, right? Taught him how to
Hmm.
speak their language, right? Taught him astrology, astronomy, Earth, showed him
All
the
kinds of
foundations of
stuff.
it. Yeah, all this sort of
Yeah,
stuff, right?
basically took him on the grand tour of
Bro,
what they wanted him. It was essentially. So I have a lot of theories about Enoch. He's one of the most interesting characters
yeah,
to me in the Old Testament, right? Just from a storyteller point of
yeah,
view, right?
man, for sure.
There's two instances. There's Enoch and Elijah
Yeah,
who were walked with God.
yep,
So, and that's the verbiage, right? And so, as I was taught in like when I was younger, when I went to church, it was that he there was the only two instances in which they didn't die; they were
no,
just
you're
ascended,
you're 100
essentially.
you're 100 correct. That's what the lore says. Yeah, the Bible says.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and so it's fascinating to me, like, and so some of the excuses that I've read of why it didn't make it, so it didn't make it into, and there's a word there, and I'm gonna murder the crap out of it. It's the septa
oh yeah.
chew. Yeah,
the
I'm
the
gonna
scepter one on
murder it.
one.
It's the Judaic traditional
Right,
texts,
right.
right? I think the Torah,
Yep.
right, essentially,
Hmm.
right? They weren't. It wasn't in the Torah. It was considered an apocryphal work, right?
Yeah.
There was a couple of those, but yeah, I think even back then, even the council of rabbis, I guess, would have the same reasons for not wanting to include it.
Yeah.
Right? They played the same role as the popes who didn't include it in the Catholic Bible and considered it an apocrypha.
Yeah.
Right?
For sure.
Because it just raised way too many
Hard questions,
unanswerable
right?
questions.
And the thing,
Unanswerable
yeah,
ones.
the thing that when they stop, when they get to a certain point and they stop drifting away from what they were supposed to be doing as holy men and start getting more into politics and protecting it, then I think that's where they're like, okay, we can't answer these questions, because it becomes to them, it's like they can't just say, man, I don't know, man, gotta have faith. I don't know, this mystery will unravel
Right? They
itself
got
in
to
time.
justify their position
Yeah,
though, and
they
then it
got
doesn't make them look like
yeah,
wise. They're supposed to be the wise men who have
yeah,
answers for you,
yeah,
and they don't have answers to those kind of questions.
yeah. No, they
This stuff
don't.
sounds bananas.
We don't have the answers now. Like even like, so look,
Well, I mean,
even if you said it was real, right? Even if you say, you know what, man, I buy this. I'm all in, man. It still raises more questions than it gives answers, right? And so a
but
perfect,
see, even the doctrine acknowledges the existence of Nephilim.
yeah, it's like Nephilim is in, like Nephilim are canon, for lack of a better word, right? But they were real, right? Giants were real, right? Today they'll try to tell you they weren't real, but they were real, and they're finding their bones all over the place. I did a good video about finding the giant bones up in Wisconsin and in the ones that are in the Grand Canyon, right? And look up. You could fall over a half a dozen Native American legends where they're talking about fighting giants, right?
Yeah,
So
giants, right?
yeah, so they definitely were real. But then they don't want to tell you where they came from, right? Well, here's where they came from, right? And another thing too that I think they fear this book from is because it lets you know that everybody has free will. Everybody has free will. Those angels,
even the angels.
Sam Jazia, if I'm saying his name right, he was scared.
Sam Jazia, yeah.
He was scared.
Yes, he was.
And why was he be scared? Is because we're breaking the rules here. You understand, right?
Yeah.
And he was scared, right? And so there's free will. And also, too, I think Ariel showed him 7 angels that were chained already in hell for not coming forward at their appointed time, right? And you can read into that as what you want is with that. But, yeah, so free will is there. And you know what? That leads to the other questions where they tell you that angels don't have sex. Well, these did. These 200 did, if that's what you're saying they were, right? These 200 of them did, right? And it caused a lot of problems. But it also leads into something too, man, that is one. Let's go deep. I'm going to go deep here, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Satan had free will and rebelled. So why are you hiding it? Understand, right? Like when Satan fell from heaven like lightning, he took 1/3 of the stars of heaven with him, right? 1/3 of the angels came with him, right? So it's not the first time that you ever seen an angel rebel. But for some reason, they're scared of this, right? The knowledge coming out, right?
Yeah, and one of the other, like, and we get back to the original fall, right? The argument was over disobedience.
Yeah.
He was not supposed to allow them near the tree of knowledge, or the tree of wisdom is what they call it. And I like that one better because there's a really interesting distinction there, right? Wisdom implies a sense of morality,
right?
Knowing what is right and wrong, rather than just knowledge being something like 2 + 2 = 4.
Correct.
Right? Because you can know something,
man,
and not have the wisdom to use it correctly.
Bro, preach, man. I know some of the smartest dumbasses on the planet, bro.
Exactly. Right? So there's a big distinction there. Wisdom implies that you know right from wrong, right? Mm-hmm. And that was what the tree of wisdom was all about, was the difference between right and wrong.
Right.
And being ignorant in that knowledge of between right and wrong. Not saying we didn't have knowledge before that, right? Because we were naming things.
Yeah.
And we were caretakers of the Garden of Eden.
Right.
Right? Nobody really thinks about what we were before.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We had free will.
Yep.
We just didn't know the difference between right and wrong. We were blissfully ignorant.
Right.
But yet we could retain knowledge. We knew things. We just didn't know that we knew things. We were like robots.
I miss those days, man. Man, like, so I see, man, like, I mean, like, I made a comment one time, man. It's like, man, life is hard when you're stupid, right? But I thought to myself, like, but you got to be smart to know your life is hard, right? So, like, somebody, I mean, I was like, is your life harder when you, so yeah, so it gets my mind rolling on that, but that's a good
ignorance
analysis
is bliss, right?
Yeah, ignorance is bliss, man. Right?
Yeah. So Enoch revisits the tree of wisdom, mm-hmm. and what he describes. Like, we always traditionally, everybody looks at these paintings, these Renaissance paintings, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, come on. It wasn't an apple, man. Apples didn't exist there. Like, it was not an apple. It was something else, right? And so they describe it. Right. And so sometimes he describes it like a date palm, right?
Right.
And other times like an almond tree, mm-hmm. right? And then, you know, there's a carob tree. So there's 3 different trees that enter in here. And so, you know, I'm like, I don't have any idea what a carob tree looks like.
Yeah, me neither.
And so I like had to visualize all of these things, right? They're all fairly similar looking trees in the sense of, you know, not tall. Okay, so let me say this. An almond tree and a carob tree are fairly similar, right? Low shrub kind of fruiting trees, right? Now, a date palm, I don't think you could confuse the 2 of them.
No.
with like a date with an almond tree, because that thing is a palm tree.
Yeah.
But what's fascinating to me about it is how the fruit looks, right? It's like these fronds with these clusters, like almost like grapes growing off of a palm tree, right? Clusters of grapes. And so they describe like, the effects, and we're not supposed to eat from that because it will kill us.
Right.
Didn't kill us the first time.
Yeah, but would you actually think that it was fruit, or was it a metaphor for something else? Like was it something they ate, right?
That's what I'm saying. Like, for me, I completely approach it from a science point of view of, okay, these were essentially hunter-gatherers, right? Just on the edge of farming. And so they're contacted by something that isn't them. And I'm not going to classify it, right?
Right.
And this is their account of that contact between them and what these things say they are, right? But you have to approach it from someone who's a hunter-gatherer, like a good 5,000-6,000 years ago, probably farther back than that.
Oh yeah, man.
Right?
We're talking. I'd go back 20,000 years ago, man, for sure.
Who knows, right?
Who knows? Yeah, at least definitely before the Younger Dryas, which is 14,500 BC or something like that.
Okay, so we're talking like 12,000 years ago, and this account has been passed. Now, what did they have to write on? Like, it does talk of him writing things down, like the angels writing things down for Enoch. But what language and writing did they have at that time? Like, we don't have evidence of like that stuff like that. But I mean, that was a long time ago too. And archaeology is archaeology. You're looking for a needle you're looking for a pretty rock amongst a bunch of prettier rocks. Like, it's impossible to find like a stone tablet or whatever, right? Those finds are luck and skill, essentially, right?
I think the flood
probably an equal measure of both.
Wiped a lot of that stuff out too, man.
And then you've got the flood, right? Because this predates that.
Oh yeah.
And so you're talking about things that happened before a flood that was supposed to have wiped out who knows what, right? Some kind of creature experiment that got out of control is what I look at it as.
Yeah, for sure. Have you seen the theory about the ripples in the Sahara? Were actually
the eye of the Sahara with the
that's where the waves were rolling out, right? Yeah, bro.
Yeah, I've seen some visualizations of that, like the flood just kind of washing over Atlantis. Yeah,
and I saw a really good documentary, man. It postulates that the Great Lakes were formed when one of the asteroids from the Younger Dryas hit in North America, and that it threw parts of, I guess, the Great Lakes are in Michigan, right? It threw parts of that land down to South Carolina. Like, boom. Like, that's like,
well, I mean,
that's how massive it was, right? And I thought to myself, damn, right? Like that, like, that's no joke, man. That's something like, it was a world ender. You know what I'm saying? So like, that was a world ender, right?
They call it an extinction level event.
Yeah, I think that's bullshit though, too, man. Like the extinction level event, right? Extinction would be like, we're all gone. We all didn't die, right? So.
No. I don't think that was an extinction, but something close, right?
Well, because, so like it definitely like knocked us down 99.
Whittled down the population quite a bit, right?
Down like 99.9%, right? Like bad day, bro. And then
horrible day.
Yeah. So, but anyways, that's whatever they were seeing or whatever, man. And then what also?
And there's so many different descriptions of angels too.
Yeah.
Right. Like some of the later descriptions are only eyes and wings, right?
Oh, so those are those called
the cherubim or something. Right? The cherubim, yeah. And then there's different classes, right? The watchers were obviously very humanoid.
Yeah.
Right? In order to be able to procreate with humans.
Yeah.
They had to be fairly humanoid, right?
Yeah, no, for sure.
And when the archangels talk to Enoch, he's not like confused by them. So they obviously appear to him as something.
like
So
us, except 10 to 15 feet tall. Basically, that's what it goes on to say, is that they were just big us, right?
yeah, right.
Well, I
So
mean, yeah, that's
as an
oversimplification.
entity, as an entity that can traverse
Mm-hmm.
space and time, right? Freely. Let's say
Mm-hmm.
freely, because they could come and go as they pleased,
Right.
right? The angels, the high angels, all the angels essentially, uh, one would think they could also very much control their appearance,
Yes. Well, yeah, for
right?
sure. I mean, so yeah, so
So who knows what they really look like, but to us, this is what we saw. And so when he describes these trees in different ways, it makes me think that when you look at the tree of life, if it actually is a physical object, because he talks about the smell in the air, right? The
mm-hmm.
smell and this, he could see the tree and smell the smells coming off of it, and he was very drawn to it, right? And so that's another question that gets raised. Well, if he's drawn to this tree, then obviously we were tempted by it. So how much did Lucifer really push us? Or did he just not stop us?
That's good questions, man. That's good
Right?
questions. So also too, man. I have a good a theory on that as well. That's a little bit outside the thing of Enoch, man. Is about that if you go back and you read the Old Testament about the story how it goes down, where Satan basically tempted Eve to go first, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then Eve goes, does it, but then God finds out and God comes back and God immediately walks in and he finds Satan and Eve, right? The first thing he says is he doesn't say, what did you do? He says, where's Adam? Right? It's the first thing he says, right? Is where's Adam, right? Mm-hmm. I'm glazing this over because I don't feel like talking about thou was this and that, no, whatever.
Yeah.
Basically, man, where's Adam, right?
Mm-hmm.
Adam comes forward and he says, what's going on? So yeah, I think that when they referred to the fall of Adam, it was Adam's failure to protect Eve by properly preparing her, the reasons why she wasn't supposed to do that. Of course, we blame women, right? Because they took for biting the apple, but like God didn't do that. God's like, where's Adam, right? What's going on, right? To do it on that. So yeah, it could have been. But yeah, it's just amazing, right? Like I don't want to armchair that, right? Like because I can only imagine, like you're in the presence of God and Satan, right? I can only imagine
Well, I mean, think about it. So think about that's something. The other thing that this kind of opens up
mm-hmm.
is their relationship with the Watchers.
Mm-hmm.
They were around them all the time, right? And so there's a passage there also where Enoch asks about the tree, and obviously I think it's Raphael, one of the other archangels, is kind of guarding it, right, and saying, that's not for you.
Yeah.
Right. Don't touch that.
Mm-hmm.
And so thinking about the relationship they have with these Watchers and these archangels, these are they're supposed to be kind of obedient to these beings, and they're kind of enamored of them, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Like they don't have problems finding women.
No, I mean, surely. I mean,
there's a whole other thing about maybe female angels in the mix there.
Could be. Who knows, man? Like I said, who knows? But I do know this much, man, is that they paid a heavy price, man, and they paid So Sam Jazzy there, man, he wasn't wrong, man. There's no lie on him being scared because one of the things, not only it wasn't bad enough that they came down and took women to be their wives when they weren't supposed to, but they actually went out of their way to F it up for us down here. Like they taught what they call the cutting of roots, spells, sorcery, witchcraft. And the Bible warns about all that stuff. Don't, look, I hate to break it to you guys. That stuff is real. Don't mess with that, right? Because do not mess with witchcraft, man. Do not mess with sorcery and all that other stuff, man, because you'll pay a heavy price for it. It's not divine by nature, so it will take a toll on you or your kids or as they're born as it goes along, right? But also this guy Azazel, right, came down And he just thought it'd be fun to teach us how to make swords and shields for no reason, and just, hey, I'm bored. You guys go at it, man. And that's when the real bloodletting started, right? And I think that was that, and when the giants became cannibals because there wasn't enough food for them, and they started eating us. And I think that's when, like, there's a passage in the Book of Enoch that says that God saw that all flesh was corrupt, right? Everything was unredeemable.
Everything was out of control.
Out of control, right? So yeah, so they came down, man, and I guess it was just like one hell of a house party, man, or whatever. But God sent the heavy hitters down here, and these guys
ran clean up.
Azazel was wrapped up. I think it was Ariel or Uriel was sent to round up Azazel.
It was Uriel. Yeah.
And here's another.
He was essentially the Punisher there.
Yeah, and here's another fun fact about that is that Azazel's punishment was to be. He told Ariel to dig a hole in the desert, throw him in it, and throw jagged rocks on top of him. There is actually a jagged rock mound, damn near dead center in Australia in the outback, bro. That looks like somebody just took broken pieces of rocks and like stacked them up. And I was like, dang, man, like, and like it's got like little grooves in it where you can climb into it, right? And I was like, man, that's crazy, right? But then also too, Semjaza was bound. All the Watchers were bound, and the leading theory is that they were actually bound in Antarctica, right? And their punishment has a deadline on it of 70 generations, right? So like they're bound for 70 generations, right? Before Azazel is supposed to be cast into fire, but the other Watchers are just supposed to be tormented for eternity, right? But here's the crazy thing too, right? That, like, I have questions, right? I go to church, man. I pray, I read the Bible. But I have a question here, man, that I'm trying to wrap my mind around as well, is that, God specifically said no giants in heaven, right? None, right? So when you die, you will remain on the earth, and you will cause trouble on the earth in spirit form, and you'll be referred to as evil spirits. And I'm like, yo, why? Yo, why, right?
Bound to the earth.
Yeah. Why, right?
Well,
so that means credit to the theory that this is like some kind of
I have good answers to some of these questions, but go ahead.
Yeah. Satan's down here. A third of the bad angels are down here. Now the Watchers are down here. Now the dead giants are down here. I'm like, yo, dude, get me the F out of here. You know what I'm saying, right? But
right? It's full of evil spirits.
Yeah.
Right? One would think.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like, so then you have, why would God say you're bound to the earth now? You can't come back, right? So again, I'm not approaching it from a completely not like religious standpoint, just I approach it like a first contact story, because to me, that's kind of what it is. I don't really make a distinction between, aliens, angels, demons. Like I call it a not us, right? It's not a human.
Not a material
it's
plane.
A non-human entity, right? Let's start there. And it doesn't matter at that point to me, like kind of where it comes from or what the connotations of it are. We're mature enough as a race, I think, at this point to kind of make the distinction, right? And say, all right, look, these things that visited us in this story, however accurate it is, obviously something happened because it was important enough to preserve, like very fervently, right?
Earth changing.
And there was specific instruction saying, don't change words in here.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, for sure.
Like, copy this for sure, or on pain of death, basically. Like, that was the tradition, right?
Good old days.
You don't change this shit. This is the word of God.
Yeah.
That's how you preserve it, right? That's how you say, this is really fucking important.
Yeah.
Don't fuck this up.
Yeah.
Right? Make sure you copy it right. And I think that the important part is to look at this and say, something obviously happened. These things were not us.
Yeah.
It is acknowledged even in the canon that we were visited by something that was not us.
Yeah.
What this does is it gives details about how not us they were.
Right.
And that makes them less relatable as gods and pure beings, because they were supposed to be these pure beings, and they're obviously not.
No. They were not our
Right?
friends, man. Shocker.
No. Well, I mean, some of them were.
I mean, like some of them are like, I'm talking
to
about
a certain
these
degree,
watchers,
but
right?
like when you read this, though, that is very wrathful and vengeful God there.
No, he's pissed.
Well, not only pissed, but just in the sense of
he showed no mercy, man. Like there,
no mercy.
There was a passage in there where Enoch sat down, like literally sat down with these watchers and like, please go petition him on our behalf, and he did. And God was like, no, there's
nope.
You're all smoked, right? And so
yeah,
and that's basically how I hate to be callous about it. And they wept, man. Enoch says they wept.
Yeah, because they knew what was coming.
Yeah. But
these are immortal beings that were going to be like tortured for eternity.
But you got to think, man, like you didn't know that going in. Like you didn't know, like how hot were these chicks? You know what I'm saying?
But that's what I'm trying to say, right? Like, so he was obviously like they were discuss. It was a discussion. They saw the human female and found it very appealing. It said they lusted after them.
Yeah.
Right, which is obviously like, all right, I'm here on assignment.
Basically,
none of my own kind are around. I'm going native.
Right.
Exactly. That's basically what this says.
No, it is. But I'm just thinking to myself.
And so they went native, and then the bosses came back.
Oh no!
And we're super mad.
Well, yeah, when
you went native, what did you do?
When the heavy hitters showed up, man, like when the Uriel, the Michael, the Ariel, the Raphael, when they showed up, man, it got real, and it got real fast, right?
It did.
And
yeah, because they looked down from heaven and saw blood being shed.
Yeah.
So this had been going on for a long time before they even acknowledged it.
Yeah.
So what does that say too?
Yeah, I don't know.
Right? Like, these watchers were here for how long? Alone. Yeah. Without oversight.
Yeah.
Right?
Right. Yeah.
They were just left there.
Yeah. Unless
Sam Azazel was left on his own, and he was like,
yeah,
who knows when they're going to be back?
They came back.
They came back eventually, but how long was it, man? This is like much blood being shed upon the earth.
No,
so the Nephilim had been running rampant for a while.
Oh, wow. Global. It was a global thing right now. And that actually tells me I think the Nephilim are responsible for building the pyramids, right? Because those would be Lego blocks to giants. You know, you and I aren't lifting those things up, right? But like to those guys, it would be. And then I saw something that was fascinating as well. Is that have you ever took the time to look at how many names in the United States of America are exact names of Egyptian old names?
Yeah, we like to name our cities after other cities.
Well, you ever heard of this theory called Little Egypt?
No.
Where so Egypt was so powerful back in the day that they actually got people over here. They found the Mississippi and claimed it as the second Nile because it was so muddy and lush and full of gators.
Yeah,
full of gators.
Yeah, full of gators.
Full of gators, right? And so if you follow the Mississippi River, when you get bored, go look it up, man. If you go look up the Mississippi River, I mean, Memphis is in West Tennessee, but it's like every city along that river has got is named after some
Egyptian name,
right? And then there's this other theory where the Smithsonian confiscated mummies and all kinds of stuff out of the Grand Canyon, right?
Yeah, I heard about that.
And that was in like actual like news articles and stuff. And it's also a pretty good, I think, I want to say Navajo legend. I don't know what tribe was big out there at the time. But yeah, man, it just opens up more and more and more. And then I thought when I was doing every week, I'm starting to regret this podcasting stuff we do because every week I just realize how effing dumb we are, right? Like we are lied to from birth.
Constantly.
You understand?
Yeah.
And like they want,
Yeah.
and I figured out the reason why they do it today is that if you believe 10% of what you and I have talked about, right? 10%, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not just this podcast, over all of our bodies of work, and even my cousin Scott. If you believe 10% of what we said, right, then you would have to realize that we are on a planet. At a bare minimum, you have to agree we don't know everything about, right? At a bare minimum,
Yep.
right? If you go to the other scale, would be like, wow, we are involved in a hero's journey, mythical tale like nobody's business. It has it all, man. Witchcraft,
Yep.
giants, angels, wars, demons, devils, gods,
Yep.
bloods, right? But they don't tell us that because they want you to think that life is trash. Go to school, get a job, work till you're 80, get a mortgage, get 2 of them, and then die, right? Like
Be normal.
That's it. And be normal, be miserable, take all these medications, right? It's okay to feel anxious. It's okay to feel depressed. Take more and more medications, right? But pharmaceuticals don't create cures, man. They create patience, in my opinion. I'm a firm believer on that, right? I actually believe that pharmaceuticals cure the disease first and then walk the drug back just enough to knock it down for 10 days till you take the next dose, right? You have to I actually do believe that, right? And so, yeah, man, we are real. I actually believe, man, but again, I got this warm, positive feeling in me, man. We are light beings, dude. 2024 is about to blow. I'm telling you what, man, the spring hits, bro.
It's going to be interesting.
I don't think we're going to have an election, dude. I don't.
Oh, I don't even want to get into that.
No, I'm not talking. And I'm not talking about like some. I don't buy into that bullshit Civil War stuff. I don't buy into it, right? We're not doing that. I'm not buying into like all this other stuff. I'm telling you what, bro. If a UFO the size of Texas pulled into orbit, right, and just went around the Earth for days on days on days, where to the point where you could not see it, right? And then that bad boy let out all these other little ships that went all the other places, right, to come in, right? Everything stops. Everything goes away, man. Everything changes, bro. And so I actually like. Have I told you the rapture theory?
I know what the rapture is.
Yeah, but have I told you the theory they're pushing now?
No.
So for those who don't know, Christian belief.
Yeah, the raptors. Yeah.
For the Christian belief is that before the second coming of Christ, God will rapture the church out of here, and you'll meet the angels in the air, right? Mm-hmm. And then 7 years of tribulation will take place on the earth for the non-believers. This wasn't my idea, man. It came across. Somebody said early in December or January that the reason why they're pushing the UFOs so hard is so that they can lie about the rapture when it happens this year and say that we all got abducted by aliens, right? And I said to myself, that's actually not a bad idea. I said to myself, that's actually like if I put myself like if I'm Emperor Palpatine over here, right, and the Jedi are coming, right, and I put myself over in that thing, right, and I want to keep my people stupid, right, and I want to keep them fearful and stupid and depending on me, but an event was about to happen that if I admitted to them that God took a portion of the population away, and that makes him real. And then they're coming after me, right? But if I say, look, it was those damn Andromedans that came by, scooped up all the kids.
Scooped up a bunch of people. Thanos.
And left some Thanos
snapped a bunch of folk off the earth, man.
Left a bunch of locusts down here to torment us, right? So like.
Yeah, right. I don't know. I don't know that I feel the warm and fuzzy that you feel about this year. For me, I don't necessarily share your optimism. Long term, I do. Yeah, definitely. I think we have a hard rest of the decade to get through.
Bro.
Just as a human species. No, I'm just talking about in the general sense, right? Like, there's a lot of stuff, technologically speaking, that is going to push us into kind of a zone where we're here, right? Where the technology that is on even just the near horizon makes some things look like magic, right?
Yeah, for sure. Me, the feeling I get, dude, is like that. Like you ever been in you've been. I'm sure you have, man. You know, in a street fight, dude, when you get rocked, right? Like you're going up against a dude, man, and he he gets you, right? Like boom, like he rocks you, right? But then like
he jogs you.
Yeah, exactly, man. Like opens up your nose, right? But like 7 seconds later, man, you're like, yo, this dude's winded. That was it. That was your shot. Oh, you're it's on now, right? I'm about to hand you.
Right.
That's what I think the last 3 years have been, man. I think that they took their shot, bro, in 2020, man. I think they took it, man. And I swear, man, I feel like, dude, they gave us that. They rocked us, dude. I feel it. I was one of those guys, man. Like,
I don't disagree. Yeah. I think I approach it from a different, thought. But yeah, no, I agree with you. It was definitely a gut punch.
Yeah, I think humanity's getting their air back, man. I'm thinking like, all right, bitch, you want to throw hands now, right? Like, so like we're gonna throw some hands. I
agree.
Right? See, I agree. I feel good, man. I feel good, bro.
No, and I agree for long term, like a couple years, like 2030. I think things will have moved on to a point where it things will start to hit an upswing. To be honest, like I said, some of that technology on the horizon, one or two of those things coupled together, like fusion and I don't know, fusion and superconductors, right there, right. We're right on the edge of fusion and of figuring this thing out that we've been trying. That's been on that, one of those things that has been 10 years away for the last 40 or 50, right? It looks like they've actually cracked it. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing for just everybody, because that brings out that takes the energy problem away, and it won't be instantaneous, right? Nothing happens immediately like that. But over the course of the next 6 to 10 years, that is a big, huge deal. These free kind of a fusion reactor creates more energy than it takes in, right? But vastly more, and it's clean. It doesn't generate the radioactive waste that something like a fission reactor.
We probably had it for 50 years.
One could think, right? The buried base under Mount Shasta has had it for 50 years.
Oh, please.
We hadn't run out of oil yet, so they didn't bring it out yet.
Yeah.
Now the Earth's just on. It's funny to me that we're right on. If you want to really indulge in the conspiracy theory thing, we're right on the edge of environmental collapse, and we can't burn oil anymore. Oh wait, we figured out fusion right in the nick of time. Right in the nick of time, right? Yeah, sure. Oh wait, here we go. Look, superconductors. Look at that. Right in the nick of time, right? Yeah, you can approach it that way, totally. I don't care either way, as long as I get fusion reactors and superconductors, because that's just one step closer to a spaceship where I can get off this planet.
Believe that.
Right?
No, that'd be great, man. So
I just want my own spaceship. I just want to be Han Solo.
Yeah, man. So real quick, I know since we're wrapping up here, dude. Elon Musk brain chip, yes or no?
Oh wow, that is not an easy. Yeah. That is okay. Hard no. Yeah. Right now.
Me too. Hard no.
Maybe in the future.
Not even.
Hard no. Well, okay. There are some very, very specific. It's something I've given a lot of thought about. Mm-hmm. I got to be honest, right? Because I write sci-fi stories, so that's kind of a thing, right?
Yeah.
I think about it a lot. There is some. I will trust I will drive a Tesla. I will trust a Tesla to drive. I might even get in a SpaceX rocket. Mm-hmm. I think I'm brave enough to do that and trust. I think that's about as far as I trust Elon Musk.
Yeah.
I don't trust anyone to put a chip in my head today.
So you people watching this is why you never get the Elon Musk, never get a chip in your head. Have you learned nothing from Star Wars? Order 66? Execute Order 66?
Right, exactly.
Put nothing in your head, man. There is no way in 7 hells am I putting a microchip in my brain, dude. Never.
with the profession that I have and the training I've had over the course of my life, there are some really vast details I would have to know about that chip before it was allowed near my brain.
Nah, bro. And
right?
Even
I'm not even thinking they should put a chip in there. I think it should just be an interface.
Bro, and to me, it's not the hardware, man. It's the software. That's what it is, man. So like the hardware being able, look, man, like if people, I mean, I'm
how many laptops have been found with freaking firmware on them?
Like I actually think that the medical, I think that the microchip was the wrong direction to go. And I understand people are hurting, man, but I think stem cells were the direction to go, man, to help people with spinal cord injuries and stuff like that. I think that would have been a biological, not the humanist hybrid approach that we went on that.
The cyborg approach is much less preferable. Like I agree.
There's a
now for prosthetics.
Yeah, sure. Prosthetics.
That's a different story. Yeah. I'm not putting a chip in here.
You ever seen the Cyberpunk anime?
Yes.
Yeah, amazing.
Oh, I haven't seen the anime.
No, it's amazing, man.
I'm familiar with
no dubs.
The Cyberpunk
watch it in subs,
genre.
Man. Go on Netflix and watch Cyberpunk on subs, man. The Japanese voice actors are always better than American voice actors, right? Americans are just too lazy to read.
Were you and I disagree? This is you. Were you and I can't do the subs.
Oh man, no, bro. Subs is great than dubs, bro.
I love anime, but I can't do the subs.
Bro, watch Naruto episode 1 with subs and then Naruto episode 1 with dubs. You'll hate it, man. That's the dumbest thing.
I will be, I'm sorry, I am an unrepentant heathen.
No, man.
I will do that just out of respect for you.
Yeah. Just watch episode 1, man.
Anything, bro.
Yeah,
no. Not going to change anything. Yeah. Sorry.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, I'm
too ADD. I'm too ADD to do the subtitles, bro. I will the Japanese. I can't. I lose focus, right? So I'll be sitting there listening to some of the anime while I'm doing other things. If I have to read it, it's over. Yeah. I'm gonna be.
Nah, I'm all in, man.
Done.
All right, man. So look, we're wrapping up here, Jay, real quick. Book Enoch, thumbs up, thumbs down. Are you in?
I'm a huge fan. I need to get deeper into it. We didn't even get into the portals.
Like I said,
just the word portals, like you think about that and you're like, things flying out of portals. That's a sci-fi story. I don't know. I vote that I love the Book of Enoch, and I vote that it is a beautiful first contact story.
So it's real
about humanity's past.
So you say it's?
I think it contains a nugget of truth. Absolutely, yeah. But just like anything else, like the telephone game, like this is a story that's been passed over like 10,000 years. It's going to get a little wiggly and wobbly there, right? Even if there's a law against messing with it.
I'm with you. I'm going to absolutely say that it's real. And I'm going to say it's real. And the reasons why I'm going to say it's real is because they're scared of it and they try to hide it. Right.
Yeah.
And so like, that's what makes me think like, okay, then there's something in here they don't want us to know. Right. Like if it wasn't, they'd be like,
you can't acknowledge part of it and say, yes,
the
Nephilim are real and then not explain where they came from.
Yeah. This is how they showed up. Right. Yeah.
Right.
Ay. Good one, Jay. Good one. Well, we'll do a follow up. We'll do Enoch Part 2 in the summer, man, when we talk about portals.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, we'll get into that, man.
Sounds good.
All right, losers. If you stuck around this long, consider giving us a subscribe, a thumbs up. I give 0 squats what you do with that bell. Leave us some comments. I'm pretty sure we're going to get some heat on this because we're going to catch it from the hardcore Christians saying that we are blasphemy. We're going to get it from the people who were saying, "Look at these two idiots talking about a fairy tale." It's all right, man.
So be it.
That'll be the third nicest thing said to me today.
Exactly.
All right. Thank you for sticking around. We'll see you next week, Jay. We're out.
All right. Boom. Have a good one.
Subscribe now and turn on the notifications to join us on this extraordinary journey into the unknown.